and welcome to episode 174 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Matthew Figuera.
At least I'm censored.
Listen, this isn't my fault. If you're on the video version and you are like really OCD by the fact that I'm not censored in the video, we tried. Something
we really did.
Is not liking it.
I don't know what's up. At the very least, as a middle ground, you zoomed in your camera a bit more, which forced me to zoom in my camera a bit more, so I don't look like I have a small head or a big head in comparison.
Now you can see us.
And we filled the screen a lot more, so now you can look at our paws in great detail.
You can see my blackheads. You can see my skincare routine in immaculate detail.
Like and
you can see the bags under my eyes.
See how tired I am.
Also pumped up the saturation. Look how tan I look.
I look so washed out.
You need to pump up those numbers.
Pump up the saturation. I look like I haven't been in the sun in 3 decades.
But is that accurate?
No.
You were in the sun yesterday. You were working in the sun.
Yeah, well, I was sitting under shade, but I do venture out, and walks and runs and just general life activities.
I have seen. I mean, both of us have been pretty good at our runs this week.
Yeah.
I feel like we both went running on the same evenings.
Oh, did you run twice this week as well? Yes, what a champ.
I did on Tuesday and Thursday.
I was meant to run this morning, but I slept in instead. It was a good life choice.
I was meant to run on Wednesday evening as well, but then we had a biblical storm here. So instead I played Beat Saber.
Oh shit.
That was a good time.
You ran on the spot, waved your arms.
It was good. There's a song on Beat Saber that is specifically for fitness, and it is ridiculous. It makes you like squat in between like hitting notes. So it's like you swipe, squat, and then you like dart to the left, dart to the right. It's crazy. It's really good.
By the time you're done, you look like Leonidas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I take off the VR helmet. I'm like, whoa.
Where did this beard come from?
Is this real life or am I still in the metaverse?
Oh my God. My goodness. Yeah, but what can I say?
It's good.
Saturday?
I had to close my curtains because I didn't want neighbors to watch me like just fling plastic controllers in the air while I have something
I'd love to be
a
fly on the wall just watching humans play VR and going, what is going on here?
It's very funny. It's very funny. Even when like when I've watched my parents try it or Shani try it, like you can't look
looks
sane
dumb.
Playing VR. Yeah, you just look stupid.
I can't wait for the metaverse future where we don't live in our places, we live in the metaverse. And then on the odd occasion somebody takes their helmet off or their goggles, whatever, walk around the house, see the rest of the family just moving in on the spot or sitting on the couch drooling. I don't like that future.
Literally.
It looks quite dark.
We have an IV. It reminds me of that one scene in Inception where Leonardo DiCaprio goes to that place where everyone is hooked up to the dream machines and it's just like these rows of people with like IVs stuck in them and all sleeping. That's the metaverse.
Also kind of like the Matrix, I guess. If I could be lying back on a comfy chair with goggles and not that long ass piece of equipment sticking out the back of my head, I'd be okay with that, maybe.
So you'd take a spike to the back of the head instead of that?
No. I'm saying I'd prefer the goggles over a spike to the back of the head.
At least the spike to the back of the head doesn't leave like marks on your face, I guess.
Well,
and at least you're sitting, you're not standing. So
every time I plug in, it's just going to feel like somebody's stabbing my brain or marks of a goggle.
Sweaty marks. Yeah, exactly. The Matrix version of VR doesn't need a camera, doesn't need a cable. You just need to sit down and expose your brain to the haunting terror of a metal needle. It sounds pretty easy.
See, in the Matrix, you nap. In the metaverse, you don't. I'd rather have the Matrix. Thank you very much. If we're comparing here,
I want VR so real that if I die in there, I die in real life.
Jeez,
I mean that's immersion.
That's next level immersion. Imagine games are like that. How quickly would we die?
If games would like that, how long would you have survived in Spelunky? 30 seconds?
I would play
10 seconds?
way more carefully, let me tell you. Although even though when I do play carefully, I still died. Very punishing game.
That game is so like tuned to being like done fast, but like it's like chaotic carefulness in a way. Yeah. It's we'll
talk about that at some stage.
But yeah, it's been a week. Did you get that biblical storm yesterday? Jesus, it was like the heavens opened.
Was it last night?
Yeah. Well, last night there was a crazy storm. Yeah, it was.
I know.
It was heavy.
Could
have gone swimming in my back garden.
Brought a rain spider into my house.
I heard. The rain spider that forced you to do Wordle at the middle of the night.
Imagine this: you go pee at like 3 a.m. because the cats wake you up because the little bastards. They say we want food. Meow.
Why didn't
meow.
The cats kill the spider?
Meow meow. Look, if it was down, they probably would have. But
they could have eaten it.
I have 2 rain spider stories from this week. Let me tell them quickly. Okay, so was it Tuesday stream
during your stream? Yeah.
Have you? I mean, I don't know. You've dealt with cats, but I don't know if you've actually owned a cat like in your space. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I have. I mean, I relate to what you're saying. Every now and then you hear them fucking around with something, and
you just know
what
something's
are you
up. Yeah. So that happened to me on Tuesday stream where Luna was right behind me. Video viewers right here, just below me, playing
just by Nigel and Ori
playing with something. And I looked. I couldn't see the corner by the couch where she was playing, and I'm like, well, it's not a bird, it's not a mouse, because I'm pretty sure I'd hear them. It must be something else. So I was like, I had an hour left to stream, whatever. I'm not going to stop streaming now. Quickly finish the stream, go check. There's a big rain spider.
Oh my God, you lived with that anxiety for an hour.
On the door to my right, not in frame, but there's a door right here that leads outside. Rain spider watching me stream the whole time after Luna was done playing with it. So I'm like, that's fine. Open the door, just push it out with a broom. Easy peasy. No problem. Last night, again, cats
Same
relate.
Rain spider came at you.
It probably was. Cats feature a lot in this story. Cats meowing, waking me up, saying, hey, feed me. I'm like, cool, feed you.
Go. Do they come like sit on your chest and paw your face?
Lupin does that. It's nothing takes me from peaceful sleep to instant anger faster than a paw on my nose.
Does he just like? I know cats when they're being like very careful, they put their claws just out, just a little bit.
Yeah,
so you can feel that claw. You can feel the imminent danger.
It's like a warning shot. It's like, hey,
yeah, it is. And he's just
I could kill you. I'm choosing not to. I'm just letting you know.
So does he
I'm
just
hungry.
paw your nose until you wake up?
And then I look at him and I'm like, why? And I close my eyes and I go back to sleep and he does it again. It's great. Cats are fantastic. So anyways, I get up, I go pee, and then on the way out the bathroom, I look up at the window just opposite the door and there's a rain spider running across it. Now, naturally...
Oh my God. Oh God, it was moving. It wasn't even stationary.
This takes me from 0 to wide awake in 0.35 seconds. I'm like, oh God, there's a rain spider in the cottage. I don't want to go to...
Because I know when you go to the bathroom, you're like half asleep. You're like groggy.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You know, if you lay down on the toilet, you would fall asleep type of
exactly.
thing.
So, but exactly your reaction was, oh my God, it was moving. That was... Word for word, beat for beat, what went through my head is like, oh, okay, this is not some dude chilling on the roof. It's very agitated, moving around. It's going to move into the room and murder me, nest in my hair or do something horrible. So it makes me wonder, like, were one of the cats playing with it again? I don't know. So it is on the window, like the top right corner of the window, and I think, okay, like the door story on Tuesday, I can open the window and just, encourage
help
it out.
Help it along its way.
Except the moment, so I very carefully pull open the lever of the window, and the moment I push it, the vibration, the spider's like, fuck this, I'm going to go hide in the wall. So it moves over to the wall. Okay. Now I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. I'll just grab the broom. I'll just nudge it back to the left and down through the window. Except when I grab the broom, I shit you not, I just put the broom next to the spider. This arsehole skydives, like literally just drops straight down, which spiders do, like, that, but doesn't land on the floor, because if it's on the floor, I'd be like, oh God, it's on the floor, but I can still work with this. But lands very neatly behind a picture frame, Like, I swear to God, straight behind a picture frame. It's like the spider had an escape plan of, if a human tries to put me out, I'm going to come here and just drop down. Ha, hilarious.
I'm just going to bungee cord myself to this fucking picture.
And then it's one of those things of like, well, if I try and move this picture frame, there's no telling that it's not on the picture frame, which means it's going to climb onto me. So I climb back into bed, wide awake. And I don't know where it is. The picture frame I've looked at today, I can't quite see behind it. It could be there. It could have moved on. I mean, all the windows around it were open. It might have gone out. It could be at my feet right now. We'll never know.
The thing that bugs me about the spiders at your place is, I mean, rain spiders are big. Like, but there is a difference between a rain spider with long legs and the fleshy monstrosities that appear at your house. They are like, you could fry that thing up as a steak. They are so thick. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, look, I must say,
the fleshy boys.
Before the cats moved in, so you mentioned earlier, don't the cats kill them? Before the cats moved in, we saw a fair share of rain spiders. Not a good time. They made regular appearances. But I must say, since the cats have moved in, I see maybe
they're chowing them
2 or 3 a season, if that. And I have
nomming them.
I have stumbled onto like a leg, just chilling in the passage. I'm like, Lenska's like, shame, the poor spider. I'm like, good job, Lupin. Good job, Lupin.
Yeah, well done.
Extra treats
you've
for you.
Rent. You've earned your rent this month. Yeah,
you can pull me on the nose for the next 6 months. It's fine.
I think I've told this story before in a much earlier podcast, but yeah, moving spiders are terrifying. Like, I had one, I was driving in the dark, in the rain.
Oh no.
And one had chilled by my engine, like the bonnet.
Oh no.
And then obviously the engine started getting hot. So all of a sudden I saw this leg
on your
at the bottom of my windscreen. And I was like, what is that?
This is
and in that moment
material.
of me going... In the moment of me going, what is that? It scurried it from the bottom up the windscreen, like in front of my face, and I'm driving, so I'm just like, oh my God, like, no, fuck that spider. And then I used my windshield wiper and I yeeted that thing into the road.
You sent that spider skydiving.
Yeah,
and then that spider
wanted to fucking move. I moved it.
That spider learned how to skydive. Moved to my house, skydive behind the portraits. Nice.
It's revenge is coming for you. Yeah. We in our place, we only get really baby spiders. I haven't seen like a big one. And I think that's maybe because we're on like the first floor, so we raised from the garden.
We live in the cottage in the garden, so
yeah, they're coming for you. They're coming.
It's nice.
They're hiding from your tortoises in the garden.
Oh my
they're coming
God,
for you.
I can't.
Yeah.
So that's my story. It's great.
Checkpoint chat. Between us, we have 8 arms and legs, so you could call us a spider.
Wow. This is a spider episode.
You could call us a spider. You could call us an armsy from the forest.
Oh, no.
Either one is accurate.
I can't even. Sure. Speaking of armsies, though, that game's out this year, isn't it? The sequel.
The sequel, yeah. I think it's called Sons of the Forest. Very excited. I thoroughly enjoyed The Forest.
Yeah.
Great game.
My body.
Game. Go play it. Yeah, go play it if you haven't. Go play it with a friend. It is creepy AF and it's a good survival game. One of the few survival games I enjoy.
Nice.
Speaking of survival,
what have you been
heard
playing?
you survived.
Oh, we're starting with me. Okay, cool, man. This is
heard you survived Spelunky 2.
This has caught me off guard. I've got to get my footage up now. Make
Quote,
a timestamp
unquote. I'll buy you time. So Spelunky, if you're unfamiliar, one of the original, well, I don't think original, but one of the most popular roguelites out there. The original one came out, 2008, 2009?
I did not realize that the game is that old. The original, at least.
Old. And then it did a HD re-release and stuff like that. But yeah, really, really great designer, Derek Yu. And it's basically
Okay, he's the original designer. He's actually a little model in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's the original designer. So he made the sequel, obviously. But yeah, Spelunky roguelite, very, 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 very challenging.
Super difficult game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about, like building randomness and secrets into the game and just messing with the chaos. But you never played the first one,
I never
correct?
played the first one. So this is where thank you for filling the gap, because I can pick up now. But playing Spelunky 2, I had no knowledge of the franchise per se. But other than knowing that it's very much a roguelite. Always get those two confused. And knowing me, I really enjoy that genre of games. So we're in this weird we were in this weird quiet period where there's no review games. That's going to change real quick. And Spelunky 2 came to Game Pass. And I'm like, well, this is a game that came out 2 years ago, which I just missed. Let me jump into it. And let me tell you, this game is not at all what I expected, because when I play these games, I always think there's some level, at the very least, of, permanent progression. So, for example, if you play Dead Cells or Hades, you'll get a currency which lets you, buff your health up permanently, so the next run's a little bit easier. Or, to that degree, you might start with more gold the next run, whatever. Spelunky has none of that. Each run starts from absolute scratch, and the only progression you can do is if you meet a certain number of conditions in various levels, you can open up shortcuts to, just hard cuts to the later levels, which is a godsend because, like you said earlier, this game is incredibly unforgiving. I think the first one was as unforgiving, but
yeah, I've seen some people say this one's harder. Like people who fucking experts at the first one, this one was harder.
Holy hell, it is. I mean, I don't know if it's one of the hardest games I've played, but it's definitely a very. I would say it's one of the hardest games I've played. I'll call it spade a spade.
It's like one of those where the visual style doesn't really
so
communicate
deceiving.
how challenging it is. Yeah.
And the reason it's challenging is because just to bring it back quickly, in Spelunky you essentially start at the top of a cavern, and you platform your way down, lower into whatever world you're exploring. I think in Spelunky 1 it was very much, a linear affair, but in Spelunky 2 you do have some choice late on between different worlds. And like you mentioned before we started recording, this game has a lot of hidden stuff. Like, when I say I finished Spelunky, I mean I rolled credits and I've only played through 4 worlds. And I went and I looked up. Oh, you're just watching my dad. Yeah, there's some bullshit in this game. Holy hell! I played through 4. Oh, sorry, video viewers. Let me just segue here quickly. Do you see? I just opened up that crate and I got a shotgun.
Yes.
Okay, this is after like 16 hours of playing. I've never had a shotgun in a crate. Now, while you're watching, I want you to pay attention to the amount of crates in this spawn with just loot and stuff. I don't know what happened, but I got very lucky on this run. Now I'm trying to throw the shotgun down. It's great. I'm not winning. So yeah, I've only played 4 of the game's 16 worlds, which I only discovered after rolling credits. I was like, cool. I've finished this game. I know there's way more to explore and do, but what hidden content is there? And then I realized I've played 18 hours. I've spent 18 hours in 4 of the game's 16 worlds. And I'm like, okay, I know how to get to maybe 2 more of those. So 6 of 16. Where are these other 10? And yeah, I think that's where the appeal of this game comes in. And that when you play it enough, you really have to spend a lot of time grinding out, getting a feel for the platforming, which, can I say, is fantastic. It's pixel perfect. The movement is good. It's quick. You get a feel for how far you can jump, what you can and can't do. And very seldom, will you if ever, will you blame the game saying, oh, the game really screwed me with that jump, like it's your fault if you die.
I'm shocked you haven't tried to kill the shopkeeper yet.
Oh, I did plenty. Don't you worry. So yeah, but the game has a lot to explore and unlock, which, I mean, I'm going to put it to bed for now, but yeah, what a game. It just took me by surprise. And like, I started it last week and I poured a good 16, 18 hours into it because I was just so hooked.
Jeez.
It really, I came back to like every evening, put in a few hours. And as difficult as it is, I just could not stop playing it because despite being challenging, like any good game, it very subtly teaches you how to get through things, and you learn as you play, obviously.
There's definitely a sort of like language to it that
exactly.
It doesn't tell you. It only comes through. Wow, you just murdered that turkey. Holy crap!
I needed the health. We'll get to
you learn it through subsequent like plays. So like your first few hours are all very exploratory. Like you don't actually know what's going on. Yeah. I've only played a little bit because I haven't had time to really dedicate, myself to it. But I've watched a lot of people playing it. It's like one of the games that I love watching people stream because it's just so frenetic, and like a good run can turn to a bad run so quickly, like literally in the space of a few seconds.
Yeah, so. I've had things where like I've got 5 health bars and whatever, and then something shoots me, I fall off the ledge, another enemy attacks me, I fall off the ledge again, I land in lava. I'm like, this is some bullshit. But I think the genius of this game is that runs are very quick. So like if you play a Hades or Dead Cells, so I keep using those two as examples because I think that's two roguelites that a lot of people have played.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're new to the game, a run will take 5-10 minutes, but as you start figuring it out, a good run in Dead Cells takes like under an hour, and in Hades, anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes, depending how fast and good you are at the game. In Spelunky, like when you do a run, you'll die in a minute or in 5 minutes, but like it's never more than 10 minutes, it feels like. Things are just very quick. I mean, I guess if you were to do the game from beginning to end with no shortcuts, even that, if you speed through it, it'll take, I'd say like 10 minutes. You can really do it quickly. I mean, and that was my strategy at many points when I was just stuck in a world. I'm like, I need to get to the end quickly to meet this condition to, unlock the shortcut. And you'll be shocked at how quickly you can get through them. Depending on the randomness and how good you are at platforming and that sort of thing. But yeah, what a fantastic game. It's just so well designed. And I think why people really love it so much, outside of, all the cool design things and platforming we've mentioned, is that the game's designed with a whole lot of items that can interact in different ways. And I think that is key to unlocking a whole lot of, the worlds that I've missed. So for example, I've since looked this up, but in World 1, I know in the one room, it'll spawn a key item, which I never knew what to do with. I always picked it up as like, I have no idea what this does, cool, whatever. But then you have to take this item to the next world and put it on a pedestal, which triggers something else. And then that's the level of, interactivity in digging into these Easter eggs. But outside of that, you mentioned earlier, I just murdered that turkey. The game's got a lot of decisions that you have to make very quickly. So if you're watching the footage now, I'm riding a turkey because the turkey acts as a shield. It gives you a double jump. If I get hit, the turkey takes the damage, not me. Like I'll get knocked off, but I'm not going to lose a heart. So you could make the choice to hang on to this turkey and take it with you to the next world. But like you just saw now, I was like, my health is low. I'm going to drop a bomb and turn it into a delicious meal to replenish a heart. So there's a lot of these little decisions happening.
Oh God,
as well.
The bad guy, you like opened up a coffin and like a dude ran out and was trying to kill you, and now he followed you to the next world.
It's an ally. He's helping me.
Oh, I thought he was trying to kill you.
No, so he helps and he attacks enemies.
Oh,
and
he's dying down there. I don't know what's going on there.
They're not great.
R.I.P. man. Yeah.
One of the conditions. I'm sorry. One of the conditions I mentioned earlier was escorting one of those NPCs to the bottom of a wall. That I was like, oh God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No. I think that's why I enjoy watching it, because watching people who play like hundreds of hours of this, they do things and they find things that are just like, to me, fascinating to see, like all these possibilities in game. And there's a great documentary, No Clip actually, Daniel Dwyer's documentary series. He did a series of videos which were about secrets in games, and one of the people he speaks to is Derek Yu.
Oh, awesome.
And just the amount of thought that has gone into every little thing. He was obviously talking about Spelunky 1 at that point, because Spelunky 2 wasn't even announced yet.
Yeah.
But it was like him and the lead programmer fought about the number of starting hearts for like years. Like they were like, should it be 3? Should it be 4? Should it be 3? Should it be 4? And it's like, it seems like such a trivial thing, but it's those little decisions that create such a delicate balance in this game. that makes it as interesting and as fun as it is.
Yeah,
there's a lot of thought to like everything in here. It's not just random. Even the procedural generation, it's done in a way it's so smart.
Yeah, it's very seldom you join a world and you go, oh, I just got a bad spawn here. Like
there's no such thing in Spelunky.
There's always a way out. There's always a solution. And you have one thing I didn't mention is that you the only tools you have in the game really outside of what you pick up is you have bombs to open up, a couple blocks and little grapple ropes that you can shoot up and climb. And you always start with a handful of those. And even that's just like, oh no, I spawned in like a somewhat close area or it's difficult to get out of here. I at least have tools to, get around it. But it's interesting you mentioned...
Oh God, look at those fluid mechanics. Oh my Lord.
Good Lord. It's interesting you mentioned the health because I did think about it quite often that 4 health bars is a very strange number to start on because, 3 is usually the round number that a lot of... that appears in a lot of games. If there's a boss, you need to jump in its head 3 times or you've got 3 health bars. But can I tell you, having 4 is... I honestly can see that it's a very intentional decision because it's almost like a freebie of like, you might get unlucky. It's fine. You lose a bit of health, but you still have 3. So look at this platforming.
And all this lava. I mean, all these liquid mechanics of like lava. Oh,
there's the death.
Oh wow. They're all new. They weren't in the first one.
Okay.
So yeah, this game is great. It's definitely not for everyone. Like I said, I haven't played much because I actually struggle with this game, but I fucking love watching people play it. That's why I was like hoping you would stream it because I was like,
I'll definitely come back because it's one of those games where, like I said, I've rolled credits, but there's still so much to do in this game. There's plenty of content to unlock. But yeah,
I've just had a great time watching your gameplay here. Like just watching all the shit that you do and your clutch like jumps everywhere. Oh my God, look at that. You see? So but
good. Thank God I recorded footage last night. So not when I first started playing the game because it looks a lot different. You'll notice like I'm a lot quicker now. I'm very mindful of what's going on around me. When you start the game,
you can tell you've understood the language of this game now. Like, so yeah, it's very, very evident you've played this for a while because like it's very clear when you've started this game, you're slower, you're less cautious as well. So
exactly.
Like you don't look down before you drop.
The number of arrows that murdered me from these hidden traps. Holy shit! Look at me now. Dropping that grapple rope like a boss.
Yeah, it's all that's what it is. And unlike you keep talking about Dead Cells and Hades, but those 2 games are very much games where, or maybe not Dead Cells, but I feel like you're encouraged to kill everything. That's your means of progression. Spelunky is not that. Spelunky is like avoid danger as much as you can.
Exactly. And Spelunky is also what I didn't realize is that it's really a platformer.
Yeah,
like
it is.
Dead Cells and Hades, it's a thing of, you get weapons and then you get damage buffs and so when I came into Spelunky, starting with my whip, I was like, oh, maybe I
need to kill everything in this level.
Yeah, I'll do more damage, or maybe at some point I'll be able to boost my starting hearts, whatever. But when I realized that none of that happens, I was a bit like, okay, this is impossible. But having put in a lot more time, it's 100% intentional, and you get it. Like if you play enough, and look, it's a grind. It's a very difficult game, like you said, not for everyone. But when it clicks, you start to realize, damn, this is a very, very smart, well-designed game, and it is a lot of fun to play. Here we go.
I'm watching you go through
turkeys.
And you're like killing things that you need to, but you're like intentionally avoiding conflict where you can, because it's like there's no benefit to killing enemies. You don't get money, you don't get like special items, so it's just like you inducing risk for no reason. So
exactly. Yeah. What a game.
This turkey strat is really good though. I never knew that it would take damage for you. See, if you can get Olmec and take him to like the end, I think you unlock a different boss. Like,
so that gold thing you're seeing on screen, that's just currency.
Is that just currency?
That's just currency, yeah. So if you pick it up, it activates a trap, but if you take it to the exit, you get like a whack load of money. So again, it's that risk reward thing. Like, is it worth me doing it? Or should I just go for it? So yeah, what a game. Very keen to play more of it.
Very good game. I'm glad it's on. Did you played it on PC? I assume
on PC, yeah, on Game Pass.
Yeah.
What Game Pass?
I've heard console performance is a bit strange because of
really?
I mean, it initially launched exclusively on PC and PS5, and I know people on PS5 are complaining that there's slowdown, especially in those levels with all the liquid physics, which is like when you're playing with precise. Like, oh my God, Matthew. When you're playing with preciseness like this, any little bit of slowdown can like lead to a very quick death. So it's not ideal. You know, I don't know if they fixed it since, but yeah, that was just something I noticed. So it's also on Switch now.
Well, that is if I see that on Switch at a sale, that would be very tempting. Yeah, because you can put a lot of time to this game.
And what's cool is that if you pick it up on Switch, like you said, because there's no permanent progression, there's no grind to get back to where you were. You just understand the game. So yeah. It's not like a Hades where if you restart that, it's like, oh God, I need to unlock all these weapons again. And
no thanks. So yeah, Spelunky, what a
good time.
It's good.
That's cool.
Time.
I need to give that a go for sure. Like a proper sit down with it for a couple of hours and actually.
Try and make it to at least
myself to learning. Yeah.
Try and make it to at least the second world, and you go, okay, I kind of get it now. Yeah.
It's always a bit of a tinge. Like you get to the second world, you immediately die. You're like,
yeah, but then the first world becomes so trivial. Like, why was I bitching about this? It's so easy.
You say this, but the 15 minutes we just watched you play, you made it to the second world twice.
I mean,
then you died.
But it was in 15 minutes, which just further proves my point of it's so quick to play.
Fair.
It's a good time. Other than that, I can't really talk about it, but for the only reason that I only played a little bit of Pokémon Arceus. Let me just bring up some gameplay here.
I mean, we only got it on launch day. So
we only got it yesterday, so
we didn't get it early for reviews or anything like that. So yeah, that's
Oh God, what happened?
There's no I don't know, but there's no camera for you.
I'm glad you whoops, that was the wrong scene. So Arceus, I can't really say much about it other than
is there little fireworks when you catch a Pokemon? That's fun.
Yes. Other than that, I've just started the game. I've done the opening half an hour. I've chosen my starter. But for those of you who don't know, just a very quick recap: Pokemon Arceus is the franchise's latest installment, and it is a quote-unquote semi-open world experience, which is what fans have been wanting for a very long time. It draws a lot of comparisons to Breath of the Wild, which if you're watching the video, I'm sure you can see that. It's very lush green open world with mountains in the background and whatnot. But yeah, I'm very keen to dig my teeth into this because Sword and Shield was my first actual Pokemon experience, in the entire franchise. And that was 2 years ago. And I rolled credits on Emerald just earlier this year, like literally 4 weeks ago. And
Emerald. Wasn't it Shining Pearl?
Sorry.
Diamond?
Pearl, sorry, not Emerald. I'm speaking rubbish here. And even then, I can already see this is the same formula. And knowing the other games, it's the same formula of, you're a novice gym leader, a novice Pokemon trainer who's trying to best all the gym leaders to become the very best. And Arceus is not that, which I think is very cool. It's a quote-unquote prequel to, I can't remember which Pokemon generation, but the world is very open and bare because it takes place long before, Pokemon as we know today. In fact, this is very much a thing of, Pokeballs have just been invented, just about, and we're still trying to understand what Pokemon are. So to give you some context on how far back it is, and I don't actually know where the story will go, so that's kind of exciting. I'll be very upset.
These environments don't look great. I'm just gonna
the game
put it out there.
Interesting. I have to double check, but I think the download was 6 or 7 gigs. Which is weird given that even Breath of the Wild was 13 or 14 gigs. So I'm like,
I mean, yeah, it takes inspiration from Breath of the Wild, but like Breath of the Wild has a look to it that is still, you play it today and it artistically holds up. This is like, the character models look fine, but the environment, like I was just watching you walk around, there's so much pop in.
Yeah.
And just like I'm looking at the grass here, it just looks bad. Just like Breath of the Wild looks much, much, much better. And it's a 4-year-old game on the same hardware. So I don't think it's the Switch needs an upgrade type thing. I just think it just looks
it might be like oh my word, look at the bottom left there. What's happening?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's like no anti-aliasing anywhere. There's just like jagged edges everywhere. It's very distracting.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's also a matter of maybe the art style just isn't as nice as Breath of the Wild. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Listen, I didn't find Sword and Shield that nice anyway. I just think Game Freak maybe...
They need...
I don't know. They just haven't figured this out yet. Or yeah. I don't know what engine or whatever they use, but I think it needs an
overhaul.
A sprucing up. It doesn't look... I mean, it doesn't look as good as a Mario Odyssey or a Breath of the Wild. And those are two much older games, so...
Yeah.
But I mean... That's a bummer.
Yeah, but I mean, look, visuals aside...
The characters look good, though. Characters look good.
Visuals aside, looking at the gameplay, it's, it's not an open world Pokemon game. It's not like a fully open world, but it is a game where you can run around, and from what I can understand is, your main quest, and you can take on side quests as well, which I don't think there's been like elements of that in Pokemon, but it's never quite felt like an RPG on that front. So I'm quite curious
I think you mentioned earlier there's no like gyms. It's not that same structure, like go from town to town battling for gym badges and stuff.
So again, I've literally played the first 30 minutes. Very keen to see where the game goes. Doesn't look great, but hoping.
Hoping
the game is great.
To me, there's little excuse for a first party game, of all things, to look like this, especially when you've got something like Genshin Impact, which looks much, much better, runs on phones. So to me, it's just an art direction thing from Game Freak. But the gameplay itself, like reading reviews and stuff, has sounded very good. It's the sort of thing that makes me excited to play this because it's different. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's different to previous Pokemon games, which I've kind of fallen off on. So
yeah. I mean, and it's we'll see.
She's got a cool costume. I like her clothes.
Everyone keeps commenting on my attire.
do you get to choose your character or create your character?
Yeah, but when you get to choose your character, it's very much the Game Freak thing of 8 portraits.
Oh, okay.
Choose the one you want.
Can you choose gender?
Yeah, you can choose.
So then, do you think your partner would be like a boy?
Maybe
a type of thing.
Maybe. I actually don't know.
Because on the box art, it's always the two of them. So I'm just curious.
That might be the case then. Yeah. But customization, not.
This is actually a bit more, because I knew the time period was like in the past, but I didn't realize they had like brick fucking courtrooms here. I thought it was more like feudal Japan.
No, so look,
thing.
it's a weird, I don't know, it's such a weird thing because, it's a game set in the past and it's very ancient and whatever, except, we've got technology. Like the professors invented a Pokeball, and like you said, the structures look, it's weird because walking through the village, it is almost like straw roof structure. It's like, okay, that looks very feudal. And then you look here, it's like, oh.
Yeah, that brick house looks like something from like the late 1800s. Or,
yeah, well,
interesting. Okay, that's a cool vibe. It's at least it's different. It's not the like not retro future, but like semi-futuristic look of mainline Pokemon games. So
exactly,
that's cool.
Excited.
I wonder if you get a bicycle.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure there'll be elements that just come from other Pokemon games that just stick.
What starters do you get to choose from?
It's Cyndaquil. Is it Rowlet?
The owl. Rowlet, yeah.
The owl. And you're gonna laugh at me because what is the other one?
Ocelot?
Let me find it quickly. I've got it here. God damn it! It's Oshawott. The one I cannot pronounce is the one I chose.
Sounds about right. Oshawott is also the I don't know. I don't like Oshawott.
It's cute. I like Oshawott, so we'll see. Rowlett is also very cute. So look, Cyndaquil, I think, good Pokemon, but to me it's very much like the, if I want to be a hipster, it's the obvious choice, Cyndaquil. So I'm like, I don't want Cyndaquil. Rowlett, very cute, but it's a grass Pokemon. So I'm like, I want the water one. Let's go. So there you go. Oshawott.
I like the owl one because I like owls, and apparently it gets a gun. So
well, Pokemon's really pivoted.
Yeah, I mean, in Sword and Shield, the water one got a gun. So
there you go.
That'd be pretty good. Pretty good.
Have guns. So that's what I have been playing. But what have you been playing this past week, or last week and a bit, I guess?
So I haven't been playing too much. Just been a very busy week in general. So I've been dipping into Halo Infinite's multiplayer where I can here and there. Game is still fucking great. Still love it. But last week I played a bunch of Uncharted, the Legacy of Thieves Collection. That's what I couldn't specifically chat about last week. But the embargo lifted this Tuesday. Yeah. So if you are unclear what it is, Legacy of Thieves Collection is the two Uncharteds from PS4. So that's Uncharted 4, Thieves End, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy. And now they are native PS5 apps. So in line with Sony's strategy with these sorts of remasters, they charge you like a $10 upgrade fee. The neat thing is that you only have to own one or the other, Uncharted 4 or Lost Legacy, and you can pay the $10 or I think it's 150 Rand or whatever, and then you'll get the collection with both. You don't have to pay an individual fee for both, which is nice.
Nice.
And essentially what it does is it gives you 3 performance modes to play around with each game. You've got Fidelity, which is 30 frames per second at 4K. You've got Performance, which is 60 frames at 1440p. And then you've got Performance Plus, which is if you have a compatible display, you get 120 frames per second at 1080p. And I think having the game run at a higher frame rate, because both of these games on PS4 only ran at 30 frames per second, and then backwards compatibility on PS5, they were locked at 30 frames per second still. Naughty Dog did patch games like The Last of Us Part 2 to unlock the frame rate, but they never did that for the Uncharted's. That's not to say that like there's been some work done beyond just unlocking the frame rate here.
Frame rate equals 120. Easiest.
No. Digital Foundry did some work, and there's some settings changes, there's some enhancements to some of the assets and stuff. So there was some work done, and I think the fact that you only pay $10 for both is justifiable in my view, and it's $50. As a new purchase. So I mean, I still think I don't think they should be free. I just think that the market has decided they should be free because Microsoft and so many other third-party publishers put this work in for free. So it's like Sony just stands in opposition to that, and it comes out as a bit jarring. But anyway, the games are good. I think Uncharted 4, if you've played it before, it's a bit more challenging to get through the game's opening because it is so slow. Like the first time you play it, you're like, oh, this is new, this is fun, this is a different take on Uncharted. But when you come back to it a second time and you have to play through the first couple of hours, which, aren't that action-packed at all, it's a bit more challenging to get through, I find.
Yeah.
But that said, it's still a really good game. I think Uncharted 4 is like a phenomenal game. The set pieces in there are still fantastic. The little escape from the prison right at the beginning and the auction at that Italian villa Like very, very
Italian villa, yeah. I loved Uncharted 4. What a
it's a
great game. Yeah.
Really good game. But the star to me of this collection is The Lost Legacy, purely because I think a lot of people didn't play it because it was a spin-off, side story, whatever you want to call it. But this to me is like the Uncharted formula perfected, because it is much shorter. Firstly, it's only around like 10 hours or so. And because of that, it just feels so tightly paced. Every moment doesn't, nothing feels wasted. Nothing feels drawn out for the sake of it. So it's action-packed and it's heartfelt and slow when it needs to be. And it combines all the facets of, Uncharted 4 into a much more condensed experience. So you get a small little open world hub to explore. You've got your puzzle platforming elements. You've got a villain that is quite menacing.
Seen on
so I just
screen.
think it is a really good, it's a punchy Uncharted. And I think probably my second favorite one outside of 2. It is just phenomenal. And it doesn't star, Nathan Drake. It stars Chloe Frazier and Nadine Ross, both of which are series stalwarts at this point. But it's really good. And I think as part of the upgrades to the performance, the games just, they feel better to play. I played mostly on just the middle performance mode.
Yeah.
Because I liked the fluidity of the 60 frames per second and the resolution. But I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel the combat is a lot snappier, a lot more responsive, and just better overall. Because at 30 frames in the past games, it's always felt a bit sluggish.
Yeah.
In a way. This, I feel like I'm popping off headshots like it's nobody's business. It feels like I can maneuver around combat arenas with a lot more ease and confidence. So I just think the part that a lot of people critique a lot when it comes to Uncharted in terms of its combat, it's amazing how much the performance mode actually, kind of fixes it in a way.
Yeah. Well, I can't really comment because I've only played the opening scene, which I did to grab this footage. So yeah, no comment from me, but I can say that just having that 60 FPS boost, so I'm not plugged into a TV or anything where I can really, the way my setup is, I could do 120 frames, but I just don't have it set up that way. So I'm playing on the, the 60 FPS, 1080, although it's the middle ground, but I think it's only outputting at 1080 for me because I don't have a high resolution screen. And yeah, Uncharted has always looked really good, no doubt about that. But to see it running this smoothly is, it's what a great series of games, and it's just nice to have these two come back, as a PS5 remaster. And what's really cool is that, like you said, it's a $10 upgrade fee. So for someone like me who just missed Lost Legacy, what a great time to play it. I'd love to play Uncharted 4 again, but I'm not as eager on it as I am to dive into Lost Legacy because, brand new experience. So
and also Uncharted 4 is super long.
It is a
time
long
investment. So
experience.
if you've been through it, it's like it's nice to boot up and go, yeah, that's cool. But yeah, to do the whole, what is it, 25 hours or so, it's a long
is it that
Uncharted
long?
game. Oh, it's close to about 20 hours, I'd say. I remember it just going on and on and on, and not in a oh my god, this needs to end now, but it's just a long game. Yeah.
So I mean, if you're watching the video footage now, there's the escape scene on the roof from Lost Legacy, and just watching the rain and the lightning in 60 FPS.
That's a great looking game. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's a very good looking game.
Good job, Naughty Dog. Keep making pretty looking games.
I also found, I mean, this maybe sounds a bit trivial, but obviously these games now have support for the DualSense adaptive triggers and 3D audio, and both of them I feel like are the best they've ever been. Especially the haptic triggers. My god, the tuning done on them. Maybe okay, you haven't done much combat yet, but
I've done zero.
It feels so. You know how many games we've played now where it's okay, the triggers feel like a trigger on a gun, and they all kind of feel the same. It feels like they plop in a template and that's it. This one feels so tuned. It feels so perfectly tuned. It doesn't feel overly resistive. It doesn't feel kind of, pointless. It just feels right, which is a very difficult thing to convey without, you actually trying it. But I think this is a sort of new bar for games to kind of aim for when it comes to that sort of implementation. The same thing with the 3D audio. It accentuates so many things. Like there was a point where I was like, there's a sound coming from this game and I have absolutely no idea where it's coming from or what it is. And then I realized that it was the little grappling hook clinking against like Nathan Drake's like the side of his leg as he was moving. And there's like so many little details that you can pick up now because of the 3D audio. It's really, really good.
Sure.
So yeah, game's good. Yeah. Shocker.
When is it coming to PC? It's later this year, right?
Yeah, it is announced for PC, but it's only later this year. I don't think there's rip. I don't think there's a release date for it yet. So yeah. I think these will look real good on PC.
Yeah, and what's quite cool, I mean, we've already seen it with Horizon. I mean, Horizon and Death Stranding, I think had, maybe not Death Stranding, but I think Horizon had a shoddy launch on PC, optimization problems. But it seems that God of War hit the right mark where it launched on PC, worked, whole new generation of people can enjoy that fantastic game. So very excited for more.
And I'm sure, I mean, this will be Naughty Dog's first game on PC in a very long time. So like, I'm sure this engine, it's been designed from the ground up for PlayStation hardware, but Sony bought Nixies, which are like their bread and butter is PC ports. And I have no doubt that the help that they offered Sony Santa Monica aided them in making a good launch for God of War. So yeah, I think that was a very smart acquisition by Sony, considering they want to bring more games to PC. So yeah, I'm sure they'll help out there.
So yeah,
it's Uncharted.
That's it. It's a good time. Uncharted's always
Can't
a good
wait
time.
for Uncharted.
I'm waiting for
Uncharted. I'm waiting for Nathan Drake in a little go-kart. Make it happen. Neil Druckmann.
Like this?
Why are you being a coward?
What are they working on next besides a supposed Last of Us reboot for questionable reasons?
That's the thing we keep hearing reported is a remake of the Last of Us.
Don't know why, but okay.
But other than that, they haven't announced any plans for anything. So my guess would be a new IP at this point, because the last new IP was The Last of Us, and that was on PS3. Yeah. So I think it's time.
It is time.
I'd be shocked if they weren't prototyping something there.
Yeah. Cool.
But I think it will still be a while because Last of Us 2 didn't come out too long ago. So yeah, I think the remake of The Last of Us will be a stopgap for, their next game in maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good job, Naughty Dog. Give us more games.
Good job, Naughty Dog. Should we get to game releases for this week? Cool. Let me bring up.
This is one thing I've got to do before we start recording. Please let me just get this. There you go.
Please hold for Matthew Figueira.
Hey, I'm sleep deprived.
So we are looking at games that have launched. Well, that are launching from today, January 29th, until February 4th. And from this list, there's only 2. We've got Life is Strange Remastered Collection, which is coming to all of them platforms on February 1st. And then I guess the big game for the week is Dying Light 2 actually coming out. Can you believe it?
Did not know that this was next week.
Yeah,
I knew it was
PC,
Feb,
PS4,
it was
PS5,
next week.
Xbox One, Xbox Series, all of those. I'm keen to. I loved Dying Light 1.
Oh, me too.
Absolutely loved it. It was one of those games that I played and I was like, this is so surprisingly fantastic. But yeah.
I played, oh my God, this camera. I played Dying Light about a year or two after it launched when they did the expansion. There was like I don't know what edition it was, but it included the base game and the expansion. And I played both for the first time. And what a good time. Enjoyed them. So yeah, give me 2.
Yeah, good game. I'm keen. Yeah, I hope it's good because it's been
a long
development
time.
For so long.
Very long time.
Yeah, we'll see. Cool. Should we then, I guess, move on to gaming news for the week? No big acquisitions this week. Microsoft didn't acquire Checkpoint Chats, unfortunately.
Damn it. We reached out to Phil and he said no.
Yeah, our asking price of 6.9 billion was not accepted.
Nice.
He was
I'll
like,
take
listen,
6.9 million.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll take 6.9 thousand rand at this point.
$69,000. Let's talk.
I'll take it. I'll take it right now. Phil, we'll just put Major Nelson on this podcast. Just do it.
But what news shall we start with here?
I guess let's start with the Star Wars stuff, because that's quite
Star Wars
big. Yeah. So EA's exclusive deal with Star Wars is coming to an end next year, which is why you've already seen some other studios announcing Star Wars projects like Quantic Dream and Ubisoft, because those will all be releasing after that deal is up. But yeah, I guess as the last hurrah, this is reportedly EA's last Star Wars games for some time. Respawn is overseeing 3 games from them. So the first one is going to be a sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is apparently due for release either later this year or early next year. So that's like imminent. Then there's a Star Wars first-person shooter that is in early development over at Respawn. Not DICE. It's not Battlefront 3. It's being made by the Medal of Honor Above and Beyond team, which made a VR game, but the game itself is not a VR game. So, yeah. And then Respawn is producing, they're not developing, a third game, which is a sort of, it's described as a strategy game. And it's being handled by a team that is made up of former like XCOM folks. So yeah, whatever the hell that is. I think the final two, the shooter and the strategy game, are still like early in dev, so those won't come for a while. But yeah, EA putting all of their faith in Respawn, I guess, after Jedi Fallen Order did super well and Battlefront 2 did not. And DICE is kind of like still struggling to keep their head above water with Battlefront 2042 anyway. So
Battlefield, yeah.
Oh, Battlefield, sorry, yeah. So yeah, that's cool. More Star Wars. I mean, I'm mostly hyped because Fallen Order is a great game.
Don't listen to Glenn on Twitter. Yeah, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Glenn is wrong. Dreamer 12, 11, I don't know, Roman numeral. Just don't listen to his opinions. Don't listen to his opinions on Fallen Order. He
says Fallen Order is trash, but we know that his opinion's wrong. So
just wrong. Just absolutely fucking wrong. Game's good. Game could be better, and I'm expecting the sequel to, clean up a lot of the small things that made the first one a bit of a slog here and there. So yeah, fucking stoked for that.
Gimme. Yeah, that's cool. I guess in other game announcements, also this is quite left field, but not unexpected, I guess. Crytek has teased Crysis 4 nearly a decade after its last entry. I did not realize that Crysis 3 came out 10 years ago. Now I feel old.
Yeah. Yep. It's hectic. Yeah.
I remember
and also
playing those
another
games.
game that is like early in development. It's weird because the Respawn announcement and this one definitely felt more announcements for recruiting than actual announcing games. You know what I mean? And we actually missed one on our list, but Blizzard also announced a new game this week.
Yes, yeah.
It's funny, they announced an unannounced game. Like, you can't call a game unannounced if you announced it. Like, come on. But they're making a survival game set in a new universe. So it's like, it's all these recruiting ads essentially for games that are years away. Crytek said that this is still in very early stages, so I don't expect this to come out for quite a long time. But I guess they put out those remasters last year, and they were like, cool, people are still into Crysis, so let's make Crysis 4.
I mean,
this game will need to be very different.
Yeah, I was going to say Crysis, I loved that whole trilogy. Really enjoyed playing all of them. And at the time, I think they were not only visually like revolutionary, because we all know the age-old meme, but can it run Crysis? There's a reason. It's because Crysis is like years ahead of its time on in terms of hardware. But in terms of shooting and that, like, I think those games are also pretty forward thinking in that, you know, you've got this suit, how you choose to tackle this mini sandbox is up to you.
Especially the first one.
Exactly.
Being so open-ended with its combat scenarios.
Yeah.
The last two became more linear shooters, more traditional shooters, but that first one still holds up really well today.
So I do wonder how hard they lean into, you know, a modern shooter with, okay, you've got this futuristic suit. Let's introduce like a proper RPG talent system or experience system or something, because that's what games do.
Yeah, they'll need to do something. They can't just be like, okay, this is another game where you can cloak and put up shields and you shoot through enemies. Like, that will not fly.
And they also can't be like, cool, you can cloak, but here's a talent pool, you can cloak for an extra second or two.
It needs to be a lot better.
They need to be creative.
You know what they should do? They should look at, like, because if one thing in those games that is aged poorly, it's like the sort of just general platforming. It just looks stupid. So, like, you know, inject some Titanfall into there, get some sick ass mobility into the suit or something. So I don't know how
I will make it a best-selling game with just one inclusion: grapple hook. It's simple.
You see,
we saw Master Chief did it and it worked. Halo, slow, boring game, snooze. I'm joking.
Crysis 3 back in the day jumped on the bandwagon of you know, we've got a bow and arrow, and that was the hot thing back in 2011
it really was,
or whatever it was. So yeah,
dope. Grapple hook. I actually forgot about that. It was funny when you think about it. It's this futuristic soldier with this hardcore armor with a bow and arrow. And everyone, it was like,
stealthy with a bow and arrow, like
awesome.
A compound bow. What a weird time, because that was when I think the Tomb Raider reboot had come out. Then Crysis had its crossover. There was something else with the crossover. I can't remember. But yeah. Interesting times.
Sorry. And then last, we mentioned Blizzard's, you know, a survival game. Now Xbox have also come out saying that they are working on a Monster Hunter style game. Well, it's reported that Xbox haven't come out. It's reportedly in the works at Certain Affinity. So
Certain Affinity apparently making a Monster Hunter style game, which cool. That sounds cool. I mean, if Xbox is going to continue to try and capture a market in Japan, that's a cool way. Although Monster Hunter in Japan has always been popular with the portable versions. So yeah, curious to see how that pans out. But I mean, they could do something cool
sell in Japan? Because I know,
World sold really well. Yeah,
Rise is the portable one, but
World still sold pretty well. But it's like, you know, Monster Hunter grabbed Japan because it was like on PSP and then 3DS and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I would take a new style of game like that. Certain Affinity is apparently also developing the Battle Royale mode for Halo Infinite. So whatever the fuck that ends up being. So yeah, I mean, I'm down to see more new IPs from Microsoft. So
Monster Halo 3 Battle Royale, let's go. My goodness, cool. Let's keep with this trend. You know, we've got games announced and we've got games going gold. So Horizon Forbidden West has gone gold, meaning this game is coming.
Hooray.
Huzzah. It's coming. There was PS4 footage revealed, and the game still looks pretty damn good. She's like,
I mean, it definitely looks like it had to make concessions for PS4.
For sure.
Absolutely. It's not a case of like you can't see the difference between the two, but for a PS4 game, still looks pretty okay. To be fair, they showed it on PS4 Pro. How the fuck that thing is going to look on a normal base PS4? No idea. But
who knows?
It still looks good.
I mean,
running at a lower resolution and frame rate, but still looks pretty good.
Yeah, just the fact that it's running on hardware that's 8 years old now, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
considering that, looks
look at that
really
grapple
good.
hook, real good.
I mean, the thing that's I'm most curious about is like, it's not really the visuals that are held back by older hardware. I mean, you can always tone down certain elements. It's more design, like Halo Infinite is very evident with this. Like there are certain aspects of the game that you're like, okay, this is clearly done this way because it had to work on all the hardware. The world is this constrained, the levels are laid out like this because of that. So how Horizon deals with that will be interesting if it needs to. I guess because Guerrilla already made an open world game on PS4 as opposed to 343, maybe it will be easier for them to adapt to that cross-gen mentality. But yeah, we'll see. I'm super stoked on this game. The reviewers already have it, so it's definitely coming out. It's out on February 18th, I think.
Yeah. I think it will be a hit. I don't see them missing with this.
Yeah.
It's like you often mention it's not always the case, but often sequels are better than the originals purely because like it's the same game, but there's new mechanics and new coats of paint with optimizations that maybe the last game struggled with, whatever. So Horizon already, we know that, if you want to dive back into history, it was almost shunned, unfairly so, because the game was really good, but it came out alongside Breath of the Wild, like more or less at the same time. And people are like, but I can't climb anything I see in Horizon, whereas I can in Breath of the Wild. So, and I mean, we've mentioned this plenty, but the fact that they've taken straight inspiration from Breath of the Wild with their little paraglider already, I'm like, cool. The game needs something like that. Let's see how it translates now. So
yeah, I think
very
so.
key.
I think they addressing all the right things in the sequel. I just. The thing that bothered me, especially now playing it again recently, the opening to the game is quite like slow, and the tribal stuff is not the most interesting part of that game. But they go into it hard at the beginning. So yeah, I want more of the futuristic nonsense that the final third of that game was so strong with. We'll see. I'm very excited for the sequel.
Speaking of open world games, Elden Ring has also finally gone gold. Which means this game's coming out February 25th. Cannot wait. February is just mad with.
Yeah, February is just absolute chaos with game releases.
I've
Dying
not
Light
watched
2, Horizon, in this.
It's like 3, God. And then I mean Pokemon Arceus just came out. Yeah. Goodbye, sleep. I'll miss you. I've not watched much footage on Elden Ring outside of the initial launch trailer, well, not the launch, the announcement trailer, and I'm obviously going to keep it that way because I want to go in fresh, but cannot wait for this game.
Absolutely cannot wait. I'm so hyped for this game. It's so cool. Like I cannot wait for like an open world take on this franchise. So yeah,
exactly.
There's just so much like I'm excited to see, because like I haven't watched tons of footage purposefully. Because I felt like with Sekiro, I watched too much. So yeah, super stoked to see what this whole new world is about.
Let's just point out that Sekiro was Game of the Year in its year. Different
Wait,
games.
When is this out? 28th of Feb?
I think it's 25th of Feb. Yeah, February 25th.
Okay. So still some time.
Sekiro broke the FromSoft formula of by introducing a whole different posture system, whatever. But this is a return to more traditional Dark Souls, but in an open world setting. Which, like, will it hit? Will it miss? I don't see it missing, but can't wait. So, yeah. Okay. trying to segue here, I guess. Speaking on games coming out, let's talk about games you can play soon.
Okay.
PlayStation Plus games for February. Meh. We've got EA Sports UFC 4 on PS4.
Do you like rumbling with people on the floor in a octagon?
Why is this site
and UFC's with
shaped
you, man?
So weird on our preview? Sorry about that. But one great inclusion here, which will confuse the hell out of people, I saw you tweet earlier this week, is Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. Not to be confused with Tiny Tina's, was it
Wonderlands,
which is coming out in March.
This is wow. When I first saw this, I was like, wait a minute, that game's only coming out in March. How's it on PS Plus this month? And then Darren actually points out, he's like, no, this is actually
It's the
standalone DLC for Borderlands 2. And I was like, wow.
So can I tell you, Borderlands 2, great game. Assault on Dragon Keep, fantastic DLC. So this is actually a really good, it's a great
it's
free
kind
game.
of like what Wonderlands is built off of, essentially.
Yeah, so if you've never played it, would highly recommend diving in. It's a fantastic DLC, but it is not Wonderland. And then Planet Coaster, which is cool. Never played it, but yeah.
Only on PS5.
Only on PS5.
Not a strong month for PS Plus, given, Sony has kind of been using PS Plus as a monthly way to be like, cool, we can give away big games as well, while Game Pass keeps trucking along. But this month, not fantastic.
Not great. And then over on Xbox, probably worse.
Oh, God. Yeah, listen, Games with Gold with Xbox hasn't been great for a very long time, purely because, why does it need to be? I fully expect Games with Gold to disappear.
It has to disappear at some stage.
Yeah.
And when I say that, that's not insider.
Just makes no sense.
That's not insider knowledge. I just suspect that it will disappear at some stage.
The one game that I'm curious. So firstly, the 5 games are Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse. Aerial Knights Never Yield, Hydrophobia. Hydrophobia is actually pretty cool. It's like a puzzle platforming survival game where your protagonist is constantly a threat of drowning. I played it on Xbox 360. It's pretty good.
My goodness.
Band of Bugs. The one that I'm curious to play is Aerial Knights Never Yield. It came out on Switch last year. I remember it was a big feature on the Nintendo Directs. Yeah, it's cool. It looks cool. I kind of want to try it out.
What gets me is that it says, so let's just read the blurb. Take on the role of Wally, a mysterious character always in motion as you run, jump, slide, or dash to the soundtrack of Daname Sama. With the average runtime of an action movie, this is a game built for both speedrunners and casual gamers alike. So it wholeheartedly embraces that it is a shorter experience, but it's meant to be played as fast as possible. And I like me some
probably
of that.
Something you should play in one sitting type of thing.
Exactly. So that's quite a cool addition.
That's cool. Yeah.
Games with Gold, not the greatest.
Not the greatest. Definitely not the greatest.
So
when you compare even PS Plus, last month had like Persona 5 Strikers. PS Plus not great this month. Yeah. Also, thank you for redeeming that on my account, because I saw the email come through. I was like, oh yeah. Forgot to redeem that.
I always forget that you'll get an email. So I wonder sometimes, because I always just assume you've redeemed stuff. So
the number of times I'm just like, I get a thing and Sony's like, thank you for your purchase. I'm like, what?
Like, oh God.
They need to change the email format for that, because that is ridiculous.
I'm claiming a free game. And then, so theme of news this week, lots of games to look forward to in future, lots of games to look forward to this month, and then lots of games to play now.
Much to think about.
And a complete 180 and pivot to that theme. The last news piece this week, Ubisoft responds to backlash over NFT program. So I'll come out and say that NFT is still over my head. Like, I very, very vaguely understand the technology, but I do understand that it's perceived very negatively by a lot of people, and there's also a lot of money involved, which is why it seems a lot of big companies are trying to find ways to leverage this technology for good and bad reasons, whatever. But I know gamers are very, very anti-NFT, and Ubisoft coming out saying that they've got an NFT program has not been received well. So I don't know if you can offer just an overview of this. Really, I don't expect like an NFT guide for dummies or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I think I've been quite forward about this, that I think like blockchain and the stuff that underpins NFTs is fascinating. It's just being used in the most boring ways possible, especially when it comes to gaming. I think at least Ubisoft with its Ubisoft Quartz thing is just like microtransactions on the blockchain, and it doesn't need to do that, especially when it's putting these items on a blockchain and marketplace that it controls. It's like the antithesis of not decentralized, but trying to use decentralized technology just because shareholders like it. Yeah.
But so correct me if I'm wrong. Just based on what you've just described, it's like selling items on a Ubisoft marketplace. If that's the idea, why has Steam not leveraged NFTs for that same reason of
I mean, Steam kind of has that system. Like, Steam is the good example of like why you don't specifically need
exactly
blockchain, because,
it exists without blockchain.
Exactly. They have marketplaces for their games, and they have all the trading card stuff, and they've got a marketplace that exists on their back end, and they've been pretty vocal in the past that they don't want NFT powered games on their platform. I think that will change eventually, because I think the sort of money in this space is something that the gaming industry won't ignore. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly the point. You don't need the blockchain for the sort of things that are being pitched today. You do not need them. There are ideas maybe that will be present in the future that might require this sort of decentralization for security or for authentication purposes. Because the one thing that I've always thought of that might be interesting is like digital, your licenses to digital games, because digital games that you purchase you're not buying the game itself, you're buying a license to that game, and that gives you the ability to download that game as long as that game is available to download. We've seen it many times, where a game just disappears from a marketplace, and like look at PT. You might have redeemed it, you might have the license to that key on your account, but you cannot physically download it because you actually don't own the game. And with that comes a sort of like problem with ownership. Like, digital games cannot be traded between players because there's no system in there. And yes, a Sony or a Microsoft could make that system similar to Valve, where like a trading card, you are trading licenses to games. And my vision, or my thought of was like NFTs could be used to compensate for that, to be able to sell licenses between platforms. Like, you have a license for Pokemon, or let's use a third-party game, for example, like Call of Duty, and you want to trade that license to someone who only plays on PlayStation and you play on Xbox. Like, an NFT is a sort of like cross-platform method that could be used to do that. But you'd still need buy-in from Sony and Microsoft, because those keys would still need to work on their respective marketplace. So, like, do you need blockchain then at that point? Because you'd still need like oversight on that whole process. So, I agree that this is a sort of solution looking for a problem to solve in the gaming space right now. And I get where Ubisoft is coming from, where they want to explore it, because I think that all of these companies were somewhat blindsided by cryptocurrency in general, and they kind of don't want to miss the boat in case this becomes a thing that does not go away. But I think the sort of ideas that Ubisoft is kicking around are really shitty at the moment. So they're just they're not enticing.
You've actually presented something that I never thought about, where an actual application of NFT in a gaming space that I could see being a thing one day, maybe, if you had buy-in from everyone, is that thing of, this game is launching, buy it for $60, play it anywhere. Like, doesn't matter if you play on PlayStation or Switch, whatever, you own the license, or however it works. Like, that could be pretty cool. Like, then it doesn't matter what platform you have, you just own the game. But again, like you pointed out,
it would be like, and I think, smart contracts that underpin NFTs, they can be encoded to give royalties to publishers. So publishers could encode a 30% or whatever the fucking thing they want on their, like Steam does. When you trade something on their marketplace, Steam always gets a cut. So this, in my opinion, solves the issue that publishers have been against for such a long time. They say, well, the secondhand digital games market is destroying them because they get no cut from that. And they could do that with digital. But at the same time, if they're going to an all digital future, they hold all the cards. So why would they willingly create a secondhand market when they could just be like, there is no secondhand market. If you want the game, you have to buy it. There's no point. So, like, I don't see them, if their end goal is to make money, which it is, then that's what they do. That's why Steam doesn't allow you to trade games, because it's much more lucrative for Steam for you to buy the game outright. So yeah, I don't know. I do think, much like Bitcoin and Ethereum, NFTs will be a thing that remain. I just think the way we think about them now will change fundamentally, because they can be used in so many more interesting ways. And so many more useful ways that actually justify, the obtuseness of the entire process at the moment. But yeah, maybe Ubisoft will find that. But their aggressive nature to defending their current implementation is a bit crappy. But anyway.
The news is basically Ubisoft responding to the backlash, and I'll just end with this quote. Where was it? It was this one, right? The Ubisoft VP says, so it's really for them, it's really beneficial, but they don't get it for now. So basically saying like gamers don't understand what's going on here. That nobody understands it but Ubisoft. So again, that drew even further backlash. I
do think though there is a lot of the friction you see now, like online, is definitely coming from a space also, where the people talking about this most are unfamiliar with how some of the biggest games in the industry are being operated at the moment. Like, people look at things like play to earn, which is a big thing. They're like, I play games for entertainment. I don't want to make it feel like another job. And that is 100% fair. At the same time, the biggest games in the world right now all have battle passes, which is the same thing.
Play to earn.
Like, to me, it's the same thing. Like, new seasons of Fortnite come with battle passes so that you can continue to play the game with the idea of unlocking things in a battle pass. And to me, the two aren't being connected, because it's like, you don't have to do that. And the game, there's this assumption that the game isn't designed for that. But of course it's designed for that. Like, Fortnite is specifically designed to push you towards a battle pass and to keep you playing because you are consistently rewarded. And the idea that Ubisoft is presenting here is like, what if you could get rewarded and then sell those things to make money? And that becomes a bit murky, because if the design itself is designed in a way to get people in so that they can earn money, quote unquote, like, how does that influence the design of games? And I get the apprehension there, but it's like, it's also like a lot of games are doing kind of that already. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch unfold.
NFT stories pending, I guess.
I mean, this is something, it's not going to go away.
No,
it's definitely not going to go away. I mean, we didn't put it in the list, but Ubisoft also became a key investor in a NFT based game called Frontier this week. So yeah, they are definitely fucking full steam ahead with that shit.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, that's news.
That is news. I love news. It's great.
It is great. We have a whole one question when we dive into questions.
Oh, did we actually have a question? I thought we didn't have any questions.
We have a good question.
Okay. If you want to send us questions, you can also email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can message us on all of our social platforms, at checkpointchat, on Twitter and on Instagram and on Facebook and all of that. So yeah, send us whatever you want. What is the single question?
It's from Cello Zede, of course, who says,
shocker.
Why did Ash lie to Pidgeot 23 years ago? He never came back.
Because Ash is actually an asshole.
So I don't know what this is referencing, if it's from the anime or the movie. I don't know what happened, that Ash just left his poor Pokemon, never returned. But can we just look at the real issue here? The fact that Ash is immortal. Why is this camera doing this? Ash is immortal. Ash never ages, ever.
Yeah, literally does not. I mean, neither does Pikachu. But then again, do Pokemon age?
Well, we learned in Arceus that the Pokeball does not shrink the Pokemon. The Pokemon shrinks and themselves climbs into the Pokeball.
What an absolute
mindfuck that is. There's your understanding of Pokemon
that
science
to me
out the
makes
window.
No sense. Why would they willingly shrink themselves into a ball?
I liked your idea earlier of like, well, if they shrink themselves into the ball, why don't I just break the ball and I have like a Pikachu I can carry in my palm? How cute. Put it in my pocket.
What stops me from slicing a tennis ball in half and throwing it at a Pokemon and it confusing it as a Pokeball and just like into there? Like if it's not tied to any technology in the ball, what are we doing? Like why am I paying for them? Why are Pokeballs so expensive? Why can't I just use like a coconut?
I was say, surely I can just cup my hands, go to Pokemon, be like, hey,
exactly,
climb in.
Then it's chilling there. Like I don't understand. That makes no sense to me.
So as to why Ash left his Pokemon, don't know.
Well, Ash is just an asshole. Like to be honest, like everyone knows that you need to nickname your Pokemon in a Pokemon game. What did Ash call his Pikachu? Pikachu. What did he call his Charizard? Charizard.
I mean, I'm going to come out and say that I just call
our Pokemon games. Please,
I call my Pokemon by their Pokemon names. Sorry to say, I'm Ash.
You're a monster as well. Clearly.
What do you call your Pokemon? You just give them random names.
Pikachu, you got to call Sparky Mouse Boy, or
yes,
Bulbasaur, you call Fresh Leaf Man. Charizard is Cigarette Lighter 5.
Oh, nice. My goodness.
See?
I get you. I'm the real monster. Not calling my Pokemon Cigarette Lighter Boy, whatever the hell you called.
Listen, Charmander's got little fire on his tail. What else is he going to do? Light my fires? Yeah, exactly.
Don't know.
He's an actual fucking walking fire hazard. That's what it should be called. Fire hazard on 2 legs. Bipedal fire hazard.
Oh my God. On that note, we're going to end this episode in under an hour and a half. Can you believe it? Who would have thunk?
If you want to send us questions on how you are a monster and don't name your Pokemon, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. But yeah, that is Checkpoint Chat for this week. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you're on video, if you're on audio, it's always a good time. Want to say a shout out to listener of the show, Malesh. Hope you got back to Australia safe and sound. It was really good to see you back in the homeland of South Africa.
I knew we didn't get a question from him because he was too busy flying, like the 40-hour journey.
Also, you got to ask us all our questions in person. You didn't have to wait for the podcast. So, yeah, good man. He paid for our dinner and
what
beers.
A guy. What a dude. Nice to meet you, man.
Guy. Yeah,
we'll see you again in the future.
But as always, we will be back next week. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic week going forward. And we'll see you next time on Checkpoint Chat.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.